What happens when vanity collides with desperation in the heart of a city that never forgives? In the bustling streets of downtown Chicago, where neon lights cast long shadows and every corner hums with ambition, one woman's obsession with perfection spiraled into a tragedy that would haunt her forever. This is the story of Karen Whitmore, a woman whose demand for a flawless facade led her down a path of deceit, betrayal, and an ending no one saw coming. Karen Whitmore was no stranger to attention. At 38, she carried herself with the poise of someone who believed the world owed her its admiration. Her auburn hair was always impeccably styled, her outfits curated from boutiques that most could only dream of entering. But it was her collection of designer face masks, each one a statement piece, that defined her in the post-pandemic world of 2025. To Karen, a mask wasn't just protection. It was an extension of her identity, a canvas for her status. And on that fateful Saturday afternoon, as she strode into Bella's boutique on Michigan Avenue, she was determined to find a mask that matched her new emerald green Chanel dress. The boutique was a haven of luxury, its shelves lined with silks and sequins, its air thick with the scent of jasmine and wealth. Karen's heels clicked against the marble floor as she approached the counter, where a young sales associate named Mia stood, her smile warm but wary. Mia had seen customers like Karen before, demanding, unyielding, and quick to escalate. "I need a mask," Karen announced, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. "It has to match this dress perfectly. Emerald green, silk, with crystal embellishments. Nothing less will do." Mia nodded, her fingers already typing into the store's inventory system. "Let me check our stock, ma'am. We have a few pieces that might work." Karen's eyes narrowed. "Might? I don't have time for might. I'm attending the mayor's gala tonight, and I will not be seen in anything less than perfection." Mia's smile tightened, but she kept her composure. She disappeared into the back, returning with 3 masks, each exquisite but not quite what Karen had envisioned. The first was too dark, the second too plain. The third, an intricate piece with gold threading, earned a scoff. "This looks cheap," Karen snapped, tossing it back onto the counter. "Do you even understand who I am?" Mia's patience was fraying, but she held her ground. "I'm sorry, ma'am. These are our finest pieces. Perhaps we could custom order something for you." "Custom order?" Karen's laugh was brittle. "I need it now, not in 2 weeks. You're wasting my time." As the argument escalated, a small crowd of shoppers began to linger, drawn by the rising tension. Among them was a man in a gray hoodie, his face half hidden by a plain black mask. He stood near a display of scarves, his hands in his pockets, watching silently. No one paid him any mind, not yet. Karen's demands grew louder, her voice carrying across the boutique. "I want to speak to your manager. Now." Mia, visibly shaken, dialed her supervisor. But before the call connected, Karen leaned over the counter, her manicured nails tapping impatiently. "You know what? Forget it. I'll find something myself." She stormed toward the back of the store, brushing past racks of clothing and shelves of accessories. Mia hesitated, unsure whether to follow. The man in the gray hoodie shifted, his eyes tracking Karen's movements. There was something deliberate in his gaze, something that didn't belong in the polished world of Bella's boutique. Karen rifled through a display of limited edition masks, her frustration mounting. She found Oni's stunning piece of emerald silk adorned with Swarovski crystals. It was perfect, but when she checked the price tag, her lips pursed. $1,200. Too much even for her. She glanced around, ensuring no one was watching. Mia was busy with another customer, the other shoppers distracted. The man in the hoodie had vanished. In a moment of reckless impulse, Karen slipped the mask into her purse. Her heart pounded, not with guilt but with a strange thrill. She'd never done anything like this before, but the gala was ours, philanthropy aside. She deserved that mask. She'd paid her dues in life, why shouldn't she take what was rightfully hers? She straightened, smoothed her dress, and walked back to the counter. "I didn't find anything worth my time," she told Mia coolly. "Your store is a disappointment." Mia's eyes were weary, but she nodded politely. I'm sorry we couldn't help you, ma'am. Karen left the boutique, her pulse racing as she stepped onto the busy street. She didn't notice the man in the gray hoodie trailing her from a distance, his phone pressed to his ear. By evening, Karen was the picture of elegance at the mayor's gala. The stolen mask glittered under the chandeliers, a perfect match to her dress. She mingled with Chicago's elite, her laughter bright and her confidence unshakable. No one suspected the truth, not her husband, Daniel, a quiet real estate developer who stood dutifully by her side, nor her so-called friends, who complimented her mask with envious glances. But as the night wore on, Karen felt a nagging unease. It wasn't guilt, it was something else. A sense of being watched. She didn't know that across town, in a dimly lit security office, Mia was reviewing the boutique's CCTV footage. The camera had caught everything. Karen's quick glance around, the mask slipping into her purse, her casual exit. Mia's hands trembled as she called the police. She didn't want to do thished seen enough entitled customers to know how this went, but her manager insisted. We can't let this slide, he'd said. Not with someone like her. The police arrived at the gala just before midnight. Karen was mid-conversation with a city councilman when two officers approached. The room fell silent, the air thick with curiosity. Karen Whitmore? One of the officers asked. Her smile faltered. Yes. You're under arrest for theft. The word hit like a slap. Theft? She laughed, but it was hollow. This is absurd. Do you know who I am? The officer's face was stone. Ma'am, we have video evidence. You're coming with us. As they cuffed her, the crowd whispered, their phones already out, capturing the moment. Daniel stood frozen, his face pale. Karen's eyes darted to him, pleading, but he turned away. The mask, still glittering on her face, was removed as evidence. The cuffs were cold, final. At the police station, Karen sat in a stark interrogation room, her composure crumbling. She insisted it was a mistake, that the mask was hers, that she'd paid for it. But the footage was undeniable. As the officer laid out the evidence, a knock interrupted them. A detective entered, holding a tablet. Ms. Whitmore, he said, we need to talk about something else. Karen frowned. What now? The detective turned the tablet toward her. It showed grainy footage from a different camera, not the boutique, but a dimly lit alley behind a jewelry store. A figure in an emerald green dress and a familiar mask was seen slipping a diamond bracelet into her purse. The timestamp was from 2 weeks ago. Karen's blood ran cold. That's not me, she whispered. The detective raised an eyebrow. The dress, the mask, the purse, it's all a match. And we have a witness. The man in the gray hoodie. His name was Ethan, a private investigator hired by Daniel, who'd suspected Karen's extravagant spending was more than just retail therapy. Ethan had been following her for weeks, piecing together a pattern of petty thefts, jewelry, accessories, even cash from a friend's purse. The mask was just the final piece. Why? The detective asked. You're not hurting for money. Karen's eyes filled with tears. For the first time, her facade cracked. It wasn't about the money, she admitted, her voice breaking. It was about control, about feeling alive. You wouldn't understand. But the detective wasn't interested in her reasons. The charges piled up. Theft, fraud, evidence tampering. The gala, the mask, her perfect life, all of it collapsed in a single night. The trial was a media circus. Chicago's elite turned on Karen, their whispers now headlines. Daniel filed for divorce, unable to face the humiliation. Mia, racked with guilt, quit her job at the boutique, haunted by the role she'd played. Ethan, the man in the gray hoodie, testified quietly, his eyes never meeting Karen's. He hadn't wanted to destroy her, only wanted the truth. Karen was sentenced to 3 years. As she was led away, her once perfect hair limp and her eyes hollow, she caught a glimpse of herself in a courthouse window. Without her mask, she was unrecognizable, not just to the world but to herself. In the end, it wasn't the handcuffs that broke her. It was the realization that her obsession with perfection had cost her everything: her family, her freedom, her identity. The city moved on, but Karen Whitmore would forever be a cautionary tale, a name whispered in warning. Andy.